What, around like 7, 8? Well, do you want to get okay?
We'll get this guy in at 6.
Oh, it's 6, so we'll get.
Yep, and we are live. So, yeah. Oh,
Alrighty.
all right. Let's do this. I am going to tweet this out.
Alrighty, I got the stream up. Did you do a 1-minute video earlier?
Huh?
You did a 1-minute video earlier? 12 minutes ago, you posted something on YouTube?
That was probably one of our test runs. Yeah. All right. Boom. That's up. All right. Bam. All right. I'm going to share. All right. Well. All right, John. Let's go.
Right,
Here
Mike.
we go. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
I'm pumped for this. I've been looking forward to this all night.
It's nice because we just have to sit back and relax. Like we don't have to do anything.
Yeah, we get to make fun of people as they make their picks, critique. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We're nice.
I know. Technically, I mean, are we? Are we nice people?
I can be a nice guy.
You can be a nice guy. Yes, sometimes. But I mean, I don't know. I feel comfortable saying it. Like I feel comfortable. This is nice. I have a drink in my hand. I am not doing anything. We're actually going to be interviewing for anybody who's listening live to this on YouTube. We're going to be interviewing a couple of the actual draftees. So I'm excited for that.
Oof.
I mean,
more minutes.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yes, we're going to be pulling a couple guys that are actually going to be in the draft, asking them how they're feeling about the draft, seeing what their plans are, what their strategy has been, and where it's going to go. Mike, what are you thinking here? We got half-point league, pretty standard rosters.
Okay, so I put out a video a while ago, and then I just put out our first episode of the Zero RB draft kind of style. And I'll be straight up with everybody, and you know, you might be listening to this, you know, if you are drafted in this or not, I don't know, but this is the same exact scoring format that I drafted the Zero RB team that our season series is in. I kind of like that. Especially if you're on that 7 to 10, maybe even later spot, pretty much 7 to later spot, you know, you can go Zero RB, I think, here. And I think that's going to be you know, a potential league winning style. Potentially. I don't know for sure.
Potentially. All right, we got 1 minute left. Ooh, I'm excited.
I know it's gonna be good. I'm just glad. I'm just glad I'm not drafting, because you know what, I'm ready. I'm ready to just chill. I want to see what other people do, and that's it. That's all I want to see. What do you think? I mean, do you think there's a certain strategy that anybody should go?
I know. I think if you're going early in the draft, you're going to just want to go with, you know, I think you just go running back pretty heavy, just because, you know, they go pretty quick. No, it really, I don't want to recommend anything to anyone, you know, just I want to see how it goes. But personally, I like running backs early, pretty standard formats, late quarterback, late tight end, unless someone that's highly valuable falls to me. But pretty much any of the redraft leagues I've been in, ADP's not gone out the window except for one you're a part of actually. But ADP kind of starts losing its meaning around rounds 3 and 4 as people just have players they're completely avoiding, and these guys are just falling a lot. So you got to stay on your feet. You got to be ready. Got to be prepared.
Yeah, no, I
And
agree. I agree. All right, you ready?
we are
I hope
going.
everybody's ready because here we go. Let's go.
Start her up.
Boom, we are starting the draft. All right, I'm pretty sure we're going Christian McCaffrey, and we do, and we do. Not shocked there. I mean, it's
Got
really.
to.
I mean, yeah. There's no 1,000,
Nowhere else
1,000,
you can go.
1,000, 1,000, 100. I mean,
Right. We
that's
got one
that's
person already not in the draft, sadly. Suck it easy.
you know what? He was in here earlier. It's okay though.
Oh, here he comes
There he
back.
is. It's fine.
ready?
It's fine. Everybody's
Derrick
shown up.
Henry.
Literally,
Half point
everybody
lead,
has
Derrick
shown up.
Henry going number 2. Interesting take. Next up, Alvin Kamara. Loving it. Like how this is going. I'm surprised Alvin Cook's fallen all the way to 4.
Yeah, Oriole Boreal definitely getting a value there. I think.
I don't think he expected that.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so
think
either.
he-
And honestly, I think that it will work to his favorite or work to his benefit. And we have gone 7, six, 7, 6,
7
six,
running backs in a row.
7
Or
running, 6
6.
running backs in a row. And then
6.
we got the fantasy
Tyreek
tab,
Hill.
the fantasy tab groupie, good name. First of all, great name. And then grabbing Tyreek Hill. So obviously he thinks that Tyreek Hill is going to finish first overall. And honestly, I can see it. Originally, if you were a fantasy football player, officiant, whatever you want to say, aficionado, Tyreek Hill was one of those guys that was boom bust. Like, all right, we might get those 40-point games. We might get those like 8 to 10-point games. But last year he showed consistency. That's why he's going where he's going.
Consistency with huge games. So I love Tyreek Hill.
I do too.
I don't
but
have
this
any
is
shares of him.
Just so everybody knows, this is a 3 wide receiver league. It's quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a flex, a tight end, and 1 defense. So we've got all these running backs going. There's going to be some value.
Travis Kelce went already at the 10 pick.
Yeah, he did. We did get the first tight end off the board, but we've only had 1 wide receiver go off the board. This is a 3 wide receiver league. There's going to be some valuable and some value picks, I think, as far as the wide receiver position goes.
Yep, we got Devontae Adams finishing out the first round, also grabbing Austin Eckler. That's going to be Astral 117.
Let's
picking
go.
Up those high touch, high reception players. Love Austin Eckler a lot.
There we go. It's only a half PP. It's only a half point league, but Austin Eckler still provides a lot of value. Also, real quick, guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you could smash that like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribing to the channel because we're going to put out a ton of content this year and just in general, a ton of valuable content. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is a great draft so far. I love it. Antonio Gibson, Wilson.
Running back 11.
Yeah, Wilson stacked 2 solid-ass running backs. Jonathan Taylor, Antonio Gibson. You can't blame him. You can't blame the guy, but he definitely needs to go wide. In my opinion, he needs to go wide receiver in the 3rd round.
Oh yeah, I think that's what the approach we're going to start seeing from a lot of people as we're getting towards that 3rd tier of running back. Najee Harris, Joe Mixon. Najee Harris just went off the board at the 2-3 spot. Now, remaining now, we got Joe Mixon, Clyde Edwards, David Montgomery, Chris Carson, and still Stephon Diggs just left. So we've got some high-end receiving talent, especially in this 3 wide receiver league. DK Metcalf going right after Stephon Diggs. And the fantasy tap.
Look at that.
Stacking 2 of the best receivers in the league, possibly 2 guys that can finish as a wide receiver 1 this year.
Yeah, you got two opportunities right there. Love that. Saquon Barkley, DK Metcalf for KBKC 79. He's actually going to be joining us a little bit later on in this draft, to kind of give us his take on his strategy and what he's kind of thinking. Maybe some teams that not he's scared of, but maybe some teams that he thinks that are doing well in this draft as well. Um, and honestly, I want to know why he went Saquon Barkley over Devontae Adams, especially in a three a wide receiver league. I know John and I aren't the highest on Saquon Barkley, but I want to pick his brain a little bit. Maybe see why he did that. So, um, I think it's gonna be. Oh man, I love this. This is great. This is
Excited.
great.
Excited. We got
John,
Justin Jefferson and Calvin Ridley going after DeAndre Hopkins. Love it. No, I'm really excited for this so far. Someone that I really love the high end wide receiver stack there, because at that point you can get two running backs in the next 2 rounds, and you'll be able to finish up. And then if you grab another running back later in the draft, could be really solid for you. Any team that's, we're still only in the second round. Any team you think got the most value out of those first 2 picks so far?
the first 2 picks. I mean, I do like the Zeke Justin Jefferson stack. I do like that. I mean, if we're going, I'm starting to warm up to the zero RB stack. I really am. And Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, that's kind of ridiculous, dude. I mean, those are two of the best, those two top 5 receivers easily, barring injury in the league. I love that stack. You got the upside of Tyreek Hill, those 35, 40-point games. And like I said, he showed consistency last year. And same thing with D Hop, even with AJ Green there, and Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk, all those guys. I think, and like I said, I love the name. I love the fantasy tab groupie. Love the name. But
Yes, sir.
the two receivers he stacked up in the 3 wide receiver league, I think that's great. Also, we just had Clyde Edwards-Helaire go off the board with Alvin Kamara.
That's a
Don't
beautiful
for,
stack as well.
don't forget, last year I was drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a top 5 running back. I will say that. I'll admit that. I'm out here saying I'm admitting that. However, he still has that upside. He still has that upside. Stacking Kamara and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you have 2 guys that could easily finish in the top 7 running backs. Easily. So, I mean, I do like that stack as well.
I think he's getting Clyde Edwards at a good value. Joe Mixon going right after him. Someone that could be huge boom or bust opportunity there. We've seen Joe Mixon look absolutely great, and we've seen Joe Mixon get talked about coming back for weeks and weeks and weeks and never does. Are you comfortable drafting Joe Mixon at all this year?
I am. I will say I am. I do think he's going to be one of the most consistent guys in that offense, in the Bengals offense. You've got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon. And I think Joe Mixon, even behind the offensive line, I think he's going to get enough of the pass catching work where he's going to actually be relevant and consistent. Whereas the other guys, I think the ball could be spread around as far as the wide receivers. So, I do like that Joe Mixon pick. But I will say this. Suck it easy. I don't like that 3rd pick. I'm sorry. I like how you went the two running backs, but in a 3 wide receiver league, I feel like you should grab that wide receiver. But that's just me.
Yeah, it's time to start going wide receiver in this draft. There's still so much talent at the upside. I mean, we still got CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson. We've got some really, really high-end players, and you can possibly find a David Montgomery later.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Remember at the end of the year last year, he had one of the easiest schedules, not taking anything away from him because he definitely won people leagues at the end of the year. But one of the reasons he finished as the 4th wide receiver or 4th running back overall is because of his schedule. I don't know if I like him going here in the 3rd round, especially when you have two guys, especially Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, there. But suck it easy could be telling us to suck it at the end of the year. I don't know.
He easily could. We do have George Kittle going off as the second tight end on the board. And I'm going to say I got to like it. Obviously, in the third round, these high-end tight ends are pretty valuable. I mean, they're still grabbing them a little. I mean, a Darren Waller pick, I'm assuming, is going to be coming in this round before the turn. And just to recap really
There
quick.
it goes. There it goes, Darren
Recap,
Waller.
after Joe Mixon went Chris Carson and Keenan Allen to Rob Street's on fire. Those are he's got three guys on his team in a half-point PPR league that are going to be getting the ball a lot. Christian McCaffrey, Keenan Allen, both of them could be seeing double-digit catches on some weeks, as well as Chris Carson getting a nice chunk of work. Liking his team a lot so far, personally. And then the fantasy tap, wow. Look at that. The fantasy tap.
Look at
Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, and CeeDee Lamb. That is the best wide receiver stack that you could possibly get in a draft. And I would not expect that to happen. This man must have some really great running backs. And that's going to be what makes or breaks his team, honestly, is if he does have those guys that work out for him.
I think so too. He's got to. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got three of the top. I mean, I don't want to toot anybody's horn, John. Should I toot our horn or no?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna toot our horn. February, end of January, beginning of February, he posted a post of CeeDee Lamb finishing in the top 12 wide receiver category in half PPR league, which this is, and we got a lot of flack for it. CeeDee Lamb has obviously since then shot up, draft boards, and
Ooh.
Yeah, there he goes, Patty Mahomes. But as far, I mean, I think CeeDee Lamb is another guy who could finish as a top. He's got the ceiling of a top 5 wide receiver. He has got the ability to. He's got the quarterback to. The only thing I think hindering from him doing that is Amari Cooper, but Amari Cooper's not really.
Hush. I like Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper is going to be somewhat of a value by the end of this draft season, just because everyone's starting to down him a little bit. I think both of them can thrive very, very successfully.
You didn't even let me finish. I said he just doesn't stay on the field a lot. He's off and on. Okay. That's the only thing. And if he's off the field, CeeDee Lamb, at that point, I think he could rise to a top 5 wide receiver.
Very, very possible.
And even with Amari Cooper on the field, I think we see him as a top 12 wide receiver. So I
agree.
I love that.
I agree. Loving it. We do have our first quarterback off the board going at the 3-10 pick, stacking Patrick Mahomes with Travis Kelce, and then relying on Najee Harris as his only other member so far. Another guy that looks like he has a plan together. Another interesting pick. We got Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts in the third. See, listen, this is why I love this shit. They're playing for a freaking Kyler Murray, an autographed helmet. It's all free. It's all free. And they're playing for this. And you got to take gambles. I mean, because I haven't
take
played
your guys. Maybe
I haven't played for exactly you do. And I haven't played for a full-size autographed helmet. I've never done that for free. So I guess, I've never been in this situation. And I like it. I like it because people, like you said, are taking their guys. Kyle Pitts in the third, I think it's quite questionable, but that could work out. That could easily work out because at the end of the day, one thing, when we were doing our mock drafts and things like that, I got flack for was taking Darren Waller. I think it was at the end of the second or beginning of the third. I was around the top of the draft, and somebody said my wide receivers were flimsy, and yes, yes, my wide receivers were wide receiver 2s and lower. But at the end of the day, Darren Waller was technically my wide receiver 1, and I was lining him up in the tight end spot. Kyle Pitts could be similar to that. Kyle Pitts could, right? I mean.
I agree. I like Kyle Pitts. He's someone that could be getting a lot of targets. I'm excited surprised to see him go at that point, but maybe he really wanted Pitts and understood he was not going to be getting him on the next turn. So pretty exciting. If you notice, we've had a large chunk of picks without any running backs, even going past two teams that only have one so far in this draft. Miles Sanders, Kareem Hunt, Miles Gaskin, Mike Davis, and Darrell Henderson, all available. Is this that strong of a tier break between Josh Jacobs and the rest of those guys I just mentioned?
To be honest, I mean, in my opinion, I kind of like Josh Jacobs over DeAndre Swift. I know he has got, oh my goodness. Okay. I know that he has got, like, the backfield, not to himself because Jamal Williams there. But he's been a little bit injury prone this off season and into this training camp and stuff like that. So I think Josh Jacobs is definitely a value. I don't think there's much of a tier break between him and between DeAndre Swift and Josh Jacobs. I really don't.
No. I was talking about the people that were still on the board because we had such a big gap. There was
Oh,
Kareem
okay.
Hunt, Miles Sanders, Darrell Henderson, Miles Gaskin, all still available. And people were still grabbing. I mean, we had 7 picks in a row before we had Kareem Hunt go off the board, and we had 3 more before Miles Sanders even went. Just to catch everyone up, we've got most of the receivers are gone. Most of the high-end receivers. We've got Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore, Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Robert Woods, and Mike Evans all going so far in the 4th round. Wow. We are lighting up the receiver categories. Everyone's realizing it's a 3 wide receiver league as they look at their team makeup.
They've got to. And okay, the thing that sticks out to me, I mean, just if you draft on Sleeper, obviously they categorize by color. You've got the running backs is green, wide receivers is blue, tight ends is orange, and the quarterbacks is red. And there is a big blue line down the middle. I mean, do you see that?
I see. We got a four receivers on a team already, but if you look at those receivers, that's a starting lineup. You've got a flexible receiver every week in Cooper Kupp.
Oh, I know that, but that's what I'm saying is nobody else is doing this, and I mean, I think for the he's going to have some tough decisions going on, down the road. I think that it's going to be tough, especially if CeeDee Lamb doesn't pan out. I think that it's going to be nice to have Cooper Kupp in that 3rd wide receiver spot, but there's going to be some there's going to be some weeks where it's like, who do I play? And do I play the wrong person or not? You know what I'm saying?
No, you play all 4 of them and you just flip between the 2 running backs. He's hopefully going to, I think he's going to be picking up a running back in this pick here. And that's going to help him. And there's still guys there. Like Miles Gaskin's still there. Mike Davis, very solid as your RB1 if you've waited 5 rounds to pick one up. I mean, you don't want that, but it'll get you by when you have 4 receivers that you can start every week, possibly all 4 of them finishing as a wide receiver 1 on a week.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, it's definitely been an interesting draft so far. In a minute, we're gonna have KBKC join this draft or join this live, and he also goes by Footballology. Love it. So, I mean, so far I love it. I mean, like I said, I love just sitting back. I love sitting back and not doing anything. It's great for me.
All right. So any teams that you liked earlier on that you're not liking the way they're turning out so far?
I will say this, suck it easy. Well, technically I didn't really like it starting out.
For me, it's going to be Astral. I really love the Devontae Adams, Austin Eckler stack, but that early Kyle Pitts grabs and then going right to Mike Evans, you know how I feel about him.
I do.
I just think he missed out on grabbing another running back and building that roster up a little bit.
All right. Well, we are connecting right now to KBKC. I'm excited because about interviewing this I'm excited about interviewing him because he did take Saquon Barkley.
Sure.
He's here. He is here. He's got Saquon Barkley, DK Metcalf, DeAndre Swift, and Kareem Hunt.
Yes.
Footballology, Michael. I love the name, by the way.
Yes.
I'm a
Oh,
Michael as well.
Yeah.
So run us through this first pick real quick. Saquon Barkley. You took him over Nick Chubb, Travis Kelce, Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams. It's a 3 wide receiver league. What was your thought processes? Oh my
So I'm
God.
gonna be completely honest with you guys. Didn't realize it was 3 wide receivers until you guys said something during the live stream, and then I paid attention. So I'm always used to taking my running backs, but I love Saquon this year. Even though he's coming off a really, really rough year where he had that torn ACL, I still believe in him. And I think that what they're going to wind up doing, what Joe Judge is going to wind up doing, and with the Giants, I think they're going to ultimately wind up with a high control offense because they don't have any other quarterbacks. And any other quarterback that comes into that offense, I think ultimately you want to have a high control offense. And that basically what that means is short passes, control passes, running the ball. Sorry, my phone's going wild. Running the ball and just doing things like that to keep the ball out of harm's way. One thing we know about Daniel Jones in the early parts of his career is that he's been really turnover prone. And so the one thing we can do with that defense, because I think people are also sleeping on the Giants defense, but the one thing we can do is control the ball and control the clock. And I think that's where Saquon plays a big role.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. But with the one thing I don't agree with is people sleeping on the Giants defense. At least for me, I love the Giants defense. You can literally pick them up off the waiver wires. I picked them up in a 3 wide receiver leagues, very similar. Actually, one of our recent videos, I picked them up. I accidentally grabbed AJ Green. That was a stupid mistake. Not because I don't like AJ Green, but because I already had D Hop and Kyler Murray. So I didn't want to, stack all of them. But I do love the Giants defense. I think they're going to actually force a lot of turnovers this year.
Yeah.
Like you said, you did hear a little bit later that it was 3 wide receivers, but people could be eating their words with Saquon Barkley. He could be a top 3 running back.
Yeah. I believe that. I believe he has opportunity to.
John,
I'll be one of those. I'll be one of those people that will be eating my words. I just, I think like you said, he's gonna have some opportunity. My biggest gripe on him is the amount of receivers that they brought in. They obviously Daniel Jones is, like you're saying, in that controlled pass offense. Daniel Jones is slightly more prone to run than an old Eli Manning was, which is what we got from Saquon Barkley, his rookie season and the beginning of that 2018 season. That's going to take away, obviously not a lot of touches, but some. And you're still drafting him in that upper echelon of running back. Obviously, you grabbed him at, what's this, the
8th
pick?
Yeah.
And then as well as the receivers coming in, I think they're going to be airing that ball out a little bit more, especially with Kenny Golladay and some of these other guys. I just don't think he's going to have enough of that volume that we're used to him having. It's not even the injury for me. It's just the total volume that you're going to get. I think he's going to end up finishing someone with a running back. Honestly, I think he's going to be finishing outside of the top 10. Okay. And I'm almost going to lock in that personally. So I do think that he's still going to be a good running back and he's going to be valuable, but I just don't think that he's worth the pick that he's been going at this entire offseason, or especially people talking about dynasty trades for him. I've been highly, highly against that.
So I understand what you're saying. Definitely with the receivers. I think so. The receivers are doing one or two things. One, it's going to allow us to know if Daniel Jones can play. And
right.
It's always the big question when you have a young quarterback. Well, he doesn't have talent around him. Okay, well, we're going to go address that. We go out and get Kenny Golladay, who can possibly be a true number 1. I don't think he has completely set himself into that role just yet, especially coming from Detroit. But I think now he has the opportunity to really set himself up to number 1. Now, the reason why you go get Kenny Golladay, do you guys remember a couple of years back with Cam Newton and what they did in Carolina? They knew Cam Newton couldn't throw the ball well, or at least accurate enough. So what do? You go out and get bigger targets. So that way that the catch radius of those targets are at least a little bit wider. And Cam Newton can yeah, exactly. So now what I think what happens with Daniel Jones is now if we go get a bigger body receiver, our 50-50 ball chances now turn it to more of like a 60-40, 70-30. And that's where Kenny Galladay plays his role. We know Sterling Shepard's a really true route running machine. And I think he has an opportunity to really work the middle of the field. Evan Ingram, I haven't heard any updates, but he looked like he had a nasty injury during preseason. But once again, another guy that's just a mismatch to control the middle of the field. And so I think that a lot of what they're going to try to do, in my personal opinion, is just it's going to be very traditional offense, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a boring and lackluster offense, and I think Saquon is going to benefit from that mostly. I think with Joe Judge coming from New England, I think he's going to take a page out of the New England book and say, I want a quarterback that can control the ball, I want to run a game that can control the clock, and I want a defense that can hit somebody. And I think that's really what the Giants are trending towards.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, I agree with that part of it. Coming off the ACL though, that's the only thing that scares me. But let's get past Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, because you've had 5 other picks since then, and DK Metcalf, DeAndre Swift, Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams, which I love that pick, by the way. Love that pick, and Michael Thomas. DK Metcalf, run me down your thought process of pretty much the rest of your picks.
Okay, so with DK Metcalf, I think it just sums up let Russ cook. Like I think that's just what it is at this point. I think at this point I can't play DK Metcalf from what last year told me. I can't play him for 2 weeks, and or 3 bye week, but that's against the Rams because Jalen got in them, right? So outside of those 2 games against the Rams, DK Metcalf was a true solid number 1 receiver, a guy that could start week in and week out without any hesitation, and I think that's really what I'm going to rely on anyways. 3 weeks, I don't have to have him, but the other weeks I will. And that's why I love DK Metcalf. And he's just a pure number 1. He's just a beast. Other than that, DeAndre Swift. Now that I will admit, I hesitated on the DeAndre Swift trade or pick. I do love DeAndre Swift. I think he's a really good running back. His injuries do scare me. But what was left on the board, I felt like that I was going to get the best value from Swift. Now, Josh Jacobs, don't get me wrong, is a really good, strong running back, and the offense calls for him to be successful. And as long as he's successful, the offense will keep moving. I get that. But I think that he's just as injury prone as DeAndre Swift. Now, we haven't had enough time, or at least we had a small sample size of Swift, and in that small sample size, we've seen nothing but injuries. And I agree. But I think if we pit Swift and Jacobs match up 1-on-1, I take Swift every time, and especially the offense. I think we're going to go back to what Dan Campbell wants to do, and also the offense coordinator. I always tell people during fantasy, follow the coaches. Anthony Lynn is the offense coordinator there, and I know Anthony Lynn really likes to utilize his running backs within his system, and I think that's where DeAndre Swift really plays a big role in this whole thing. And Jared Goff, I think at this point we all understand Jared Goff he's starting to trend towards more of an Alex Smith kind of quarterback. Like we know you got the arm to do the big stuff, but you're just not consistent enough to do the big stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to work the middle of the field with TJ Hockenson. I think that's why Hawkinson's value is off the roof right now. And I'm still kind of unsure because I'm not sure what the offense is going to truly look like. But once again, with Anthony Lynn and Dan Campbell being a former tight end, you see Hawkinson's value really trying to trend in the right direction. And then the other person on that offense, I mean, we look at the receiving core. I've seen a meme the other day or a picture the other day that's talking about some of the top 10 worst receiving cores in the league right now, and Detroit was on there. You don't know what that receiving core is going to be. So, I mean, if we're talking about just pure talent of what they currently have on their roster, you're looking at Swift and Hockenson and then others.
Yeah,
can I sell you on?
First of all, I know John's gonna sell you on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I'm high on him.
Can I sell you on someone?
I love Raw. I love Raw. I think he's gonna be a true possession receiver. I'm all on board for him. But I mean, as of right now, as the league kicks off, we don't know what we have in Detroit's receiving.
Oh, absolutely not. It's a shot in the dark, and I like it. But realistically, I got a question for you really fast. As we're getting towards this draft more, you're 2 receivers deep. I just saw this. You grabbed Michael Thomas as your second receiver.
I did.
You got some sleepers, don't you?
I do. I do. I love this. I obviously footballology. That's what I do, and I follow players. I follow players from college all the way through. I love the draft and everything about it. I do have some sleepers. It's crazy. I had another draft, a keeper league, about 3 hours ago, and I took Michael Thomas, and they gave me flack for that. They're like, "Oh, well, what's going to happen?" I was like, "I don't know." But if he comes back after those 6 weeks, I would say if he comes back after those 6 weeks and he looks like Michael Thomas, I got a steal. So I'm taking that's a high risk, but I'm hoping for the reward.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Also, real quick, going back to Dan Campbell, I remember John and I being Dolphins fans when Dan Campbell came in as the interim head coach.
Yeah.
The first day, the first thing he did was Oklahoma drills. So I love Dan Campbell. I hope the best for him up there in Detroit.
Yeah.
With DeAndre Swift, I hope DeAndre Swift gets healthy. Because I think DeAndre Swift, like you said, could be I mean, he is one of the more talented backs and young backs in the league. As far as Javonte Williams, obviously, I mean, what got me excited with him, and I don't know if this is the same for you, the third week of preseason, he didn't play. And Vic Fangio even said, we saw what we needed to see from Javonte. I want to see, what Melvin Gordon has. So I totally understand that pick. And I don't know if that's what, drew you to that pick, but that's.
So what drew me to Javonte Williams was him at North Carolina. So like I told you guys, I do this. Like I follow these players. I track them, everything. So I made a video about Javonte Williams before the draft even kicked off. He was a junior, and I didn't know if he was going to declare. Him and Michael Carter, who's in with the New York Jets, they were the craziest tandem in North Carolina. Like if you go back and just watch some of their highlight reels, crazy contact balance out of this world, the whole nine, everything. So I was a big fan of Javonte Williams. Now, my biggest thing about him and getting him was I was really concerned about what offense he was going to be a part of. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say Gary Kubiak has something to do with the Denver offense, but I'm not 100% sure.
I believe so.
Yeah.
He did or was.
Or it's like he's doing something there. I feel like he is, but I'm not 100% sure. But so with him, first of all, going to Denver, A+. And then with Denver really doing the right things to bolster their offense line, regardless of anything, that A++ for me. I love good offense line. And then if you add Gary Kubiak, who is the descendant from Mike Shanahan, if you will.
Right.
If you add that together, what we got is a zone blocking scheme that allows a running back like Javonte Williams to hit the hole and go. And he has some go in him. And so I really love his setup. I really think he's in a good situation. Now, the thing that does scare me the most is his quarterback. I think if he would have had a better quarterback, you would have seen Javonte Williams easily go in the second or first round.
Yeah, I think he could. I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think the only thing that's holding him back is Melvin Gordon. I think people are hesitant on that because he did finish as the running back 16 last year. Good year, and
consistently solid.
Yeah,
never great, but consistently playable almost every week, flexible almost every week.
So I think,
even from a football standpoint, solid. Sorry.
Yeah, no, agreed. I 100% agree. I think that's what holds him back. I kind of like Teddy. I like we saw Mike Davis. I know he's not the best. Obviously he's not a top 10 quarterback. Whatsoever.
No. I mean, it's not.
But we saw Mike Davis kind of thrive a few weeks last year, fantasy wise. We saw Curtis Samuel thrive, Robbie Anderson thrive with him there. So I would nothing, I wouldn't knock the quarterback, but I do like at the end of the day, I do like Javonte Williams. I do.
So with Teddy Bridgewater, when he was coming out of Louisville, I was super high on Teddy Bridgewater. I was mad that he fell all the way 32 to Minnesota, the whole nine. I thought Teddy was the real deal. Yeah. And he goes to Minnesota and he had the rookie woes. Okay, we can live with that. You're a quarterback in the NFL. You're getting used to it. But that offense never seemed to take a step in the right direction. And then Teddy had that severe, nasty injury in practice. Yeah. And, that was unfortunate because a lot of things were concerned with that. But he still came back and played football. So then we look at we look at the Saints. When he was with the Saints and he took over those few games, the offense felt very dull. It felt like Teddy at this point in his career was starting to trend. And I always use Alex Smith as my guinea pig, if you will. He's starting to trend in Alex Smith area or territory where I'm not going to do a lot, but I'm not going to lose you the game either. And so what happens with that is if you guys, and I'm a Chiefs fan. Obviously, you see all my stuff. I'm a Chiefs fan. With Alex Smith.
You missed it last year. You missed it last year.
Yeah.
We had Tyreek Hill helmet on the Rams last year.
Yeah, I've heard about it several times. I was like, that would have been nice. That would have been nice to have. But with the one thing with Alex Smith, and when you put a quarterback like that in your offense, it doesn't allow the safety to play honest anymore. So the safety at that point can cheat up And now if you go back and look at Alex Smith offenses and defenses played against them, you will see the safety play within that 20-yard window off the line of scrimmage. I'm not afraid of you going over my head because I know you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And now what that does is give me the ability to both play the pass and the run. Now you're going to do some, and then I think with Andy Reid offense, Andy Reid made it to Alex Smith to make sure that he can control pass and keep everything close to him. It's something similar to what the Pittsburgh Steelers did last year, where we seen Ben take a couple of big shots down the field, but for the most part, it was all control offense, underneath passes, run game, or the lack of, but whatever they could as far as running the ball. And I think that's really what we've seen from them last year. And I think now at this point, did I just see? I thought I'd seen them. Okay, never mind. But I think now from this point, I think that's what Denver offense is going to be, because Teddy Bridgewater is not willing to take those shots down the field. So that what really ultimately makes me afraid of Javonte Williams. But I think he's still so good. I think the offense is still going to be really decent. And if Drew Lock would have got his ish together, he would have been a starting quarterback, and this offense would have been nasty. Or even if Green Bay wouldn't try to hold on to Aaron Rodgers too much and traded him away to Denver, that would have been nasty too.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Love that. Also, love the picks. The last two picks you just had: Michael Pittman, DJ Chark.
Yeah.
Obviously, DJ Chark last year, and I talked about him in a post hype sleeper video that John and I talked about or did.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, he was going last year. He was going top 5 rounds. This year, you got him in the 7th round with a better quarterback. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can all agree. You know,
100%.
we've got a much better quarterback there in Jacksonville. So I do think that he could definitely, take a step forward and actually materialize into what we thought he could be. And then of course Michael Pittman. I mean, T.Y. Hilton's gone. I talked about for a while. I mean, if not for unfortunately, potentially he might not come back. Potentially, I mean, with the neck injury, that's a pretty serious injury. Yeah. So, but Michael Pittman, man, I like, in my opinion, he gets an upgraded quarterback. I mean, I don't know how everybody else
does, for sure
feels. So Michael Pittman, great there in the 8th round. So you really have your 3 starting receivers: DK Metcalf, DJ Chark, Michael Pittman. With 2 running backs, and you can definitely find a flex in there with Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams.
I love Kareem this year.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? It's
yeah.
It's how do you, obviously, the off the field thing, when that happened, but if that had not happened, geez, I can't speak right now, but if that had not happened, obviously there would be no CEH, but he would be a top 4 running back right now. Being taken.
Hands down.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been that way since his time in Kansas City finished.
So you're getting a discount there. So, I mean, I like it. I don't want to spoil anything because obviously we still have a few rounds left, and I do want to talk about the tight end and the quarterback position because you haven't gone there yet. But
I got my guys.
I love it.
I got one. I've watched a couple of you guys' sleeper videos, and you guys definitely. Oh, Callaway just went. That's unfortunate.
Right.
But you guys are talking about some sleepers, and that's one reason I found Amon-Ra, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely on high on him. I think he's a really good receiver. He did his work. But my thing was, go ahead.
Sorry, someone else that just because of the Kiki QT cutting. Someone else I mentioned in that same video, Nico Collins, is already slotted up to be the 4th wide receiver in that league, in that team, competing with Chris Conley, and I can't remember who the other guy is. Even with the bad quarterback, still could be a flexible player in a deeper league. Still someone I'm liking even more than I started out.
And I think with him, with the way that offense is going to be, because Tyrod is going to be the quarterback, I think they're going to try to get down to the red zone and play some jump ball games. And with a guy like Nico Collins,
could do that.
Yeah, Nico's going to be your go-to guy.
Exactly.
And so that when you get down there, and that's one thing I personally, every year I never take any Chiefs players, and mainly because like we don't have players that I think are good. Like if they're like late round guys, like we have our top 3, like Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, like that's fine. I'm not high on CEH. at all. I think that a lot of times our offense is very gimmicky, and that's one thing that irritated me about the Super Bowl. It felt like that we were too predictable. When we get down to the red zone, you see teams like with having a Nico Collins or even a Kenny Galladay, you see teams out there are willing to give that number one receiver that jump ball ability. Now, Tyreek Hill, I think, can outjump some of the best receivers in the league, hands down. But we don't have
Right.
that true red zone threat outside of a gimmick play to Travis Kelsey or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't like about our offense. And so a guy like Nico Collins do excite me because even if he doesn't do anything inside the 20s or outside the 20s, but once he gets inside the 20, I think it's fair game at that point. And if you're really good at what you do, yeah, you're gonna win every time. And I when I first started getting into football, the one receiver that I would gravitate to the most was Calvin Johnson. I tell
Yep.
anybody Calvin
Love
Johnson
it,
is a
dude.
beast. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, and he was, one of those guys where it wasn't a 50-50, it was a 70-30. Like, I don't
Yeah,
care how many people you
100%.
put on me. And so,
90-10, yeah.
Shit, it was a 90-10.
Unless there was
okay?
3 guys on him, it wasn't anywhere close.
yeah. And so,
Even
like,
at that point, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I
he
will
still
never
had a fighting
forget.
chance.
I will never forget. Sorry to interrupt. I will
No,
never
go ahead.
forget the one time my buddy, he used to have Dolphin season tickets. Where his dad did, and he took us to this game. And this guy was the luckiest guy I've ever met in my entire life. And he ran into this Dolphins. She worked for the Dolphins organization, and she said, "Hey, I'll give you." He was a service member. I'll give you these sideline passes. And it was to the Dolphins Lions game when Calvin Johnson was on the team still, and literally, so we got sideline passes, and Calvin Johnson walked right by me, and I was like, that dude is just a freaking unicorn. I mean, I know people are
Yeah.
calling Kyle Pitts a unicorn, but this guy was just like, I was like, holy crap!
I
Like
actually
watching
feel you
him
more.
run routes, I mean, it's ridiculous, crazy.
Think
But
about
yeah,
it.
sorry.
No, you're good. No, like, and so I believe in personally having that kind of threat, and especially
Yep.
when you're in the red zone, you want to have that kind of threat. You want to have that ability to just do that. Just even if it's for one play, even if it's second and 2 or second and goal, 10 yards out. I want to give that one guy that opportunity, and then we can try running it in or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
And so yeah, Nico Collins definitely excites me with Houston. I think I don't know what to expect from Houston, to be honest. I've looked over their roster several times and I'm trying to dissect it and understand it. And it's a train wreck.
Yeah.
At,
Yeah.
at this at this point, there's about 3 teams that I feel like they're going to pull Arizona Cardinals next year, where we have a guy for 1 year and then we're going to give him the boot and then we're going to try to overhaul everything within a year. Now, obviously, it worked for the Arizona Cardinals so far, but I think that's where, like, you think about even like Philadelphia. I don't trust them in their situation. Too much inconsistency. I don't trust Houston in their situation.
Yeah.
It's just too many inconsistencies in Houston. So uh, I just don't know what to expect.
Those are the two you named them for me. Those are the 2 teams I'm staying completely away from in fantasy football this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Nico Collins. I
Mhm.
love, his factor, but I unfortunately, as a rookie and a quarterback that did not, first of all, did not look good in the preseason. Not, I also don't think he's been given a fair shot, through the end his entire career. And some unfortunate events did happen,
Mhm.
with the punctured lung.
Yeah.
But I just don't trust the Texans. And I don't trust the Eagles. The only Texan I'd be taking a shot on would be Philip Lindsay, especially in the PPR league. But
Yeah.
I'm totally comfortable grabbing Brandon Cooks, especially as late as he's going, just because he's going to be the primary target there, and he's going as a wide receiver 3 or 4. He's going to have wide receiver 2 weeks multiple times and some wide receiver ones. He's going to be almost a flexible every week guy and huge upside.
See, not my only concern with Brandon Cooks is I feel like he's one of those feast or famine guys, and if he had, I would say a slightly step up better of a quarterback, because I'm not sure if Tyrod's willing to take those shots. I think that's where Brandon Cooks make a lot of his money, and if Tyrod was more willing to take those shots down the field, I feel like definitely Brandon Cooks would be a guy I would feel 100% comfortable taking. But outside of that, I'm concerned because it's just like, what am I getting elsewhere? Because if I'm a defense, how am I going to play this offense? I'm gonna roll on
Right.
I'm gonna roll on Brandon Cooks and force you to beat me with someone else. And I love Chris Conley. I loved him coming out of Georgia. He was a former Chief, but Chris Conley hasn't really measured up to his combine. I mean, he had one of the craziest combines ever, and he
Yeah.
never measured up to it. And it's like that's so frustrating. And so I don't know what Houston offense is ultimately going to be, but I can definitely see if you say, hey Mike, you got to take one Houston Texan, yeah, it would have to be Cooks or Lindsey, hands down. Other than that, you just don't know what you're getting.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Michael, KBKC Footballology, I really appreciate you joining us for this draft. We're gonna be doing, just so you know, because obviously you're really knowledgeable, and we loved having you on. We're gonna be doing live streams every freaking Sunday.
Okay.
Even when we're at the Dolphins games, we'll be doing live streams. So we'd love to have you on.
I'm there.
So John, you got anything to say? I mean,
yeah, man. If we'll be in contact. I'd love to get you on for just some episodes or just some talking. Get some videos out there with you. Collab a little bit, man. Appreciate you a lot. Definitely great to have you around. Love your mindset.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you guys decided to have me on. It was exciting. Like I could talk football for hours and not bad enough.
Yeah, awesome. And honestly, that's why we started this, is because John and I. First of all, John and I like to argue with each other. Yeah. Second of all, it's like we love football, so and we love the same, so it's great. It's great. So
actually, really quick, one question. I don't make it a sort of quick answer before we get you out of here. Frank Gore, first ballot Hall of Famer or no?
You got to say yes.
Thank you.
When you're on the list that he's on as far as career rushing yards, the one thing about the league, they say not for long, right? And he's played one of the most bruising positions, coming out of Miami with two bad knees or
two
really
ACLs,
bad knees?
Yeah, 2 ACLs.
And for him to put together the career he has, you have to at least consider it, or at least really truly put some thought into it. But if I had a vote, I would definitely give it to him. Just
fair enough.
Thank you. All right, that's 2 out of 3 right here.
Definitely appreciate you a lot, man. We'll be seeing you a lot of you.
All right, I appreciate you guys.
All right, man. Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All righty.
All right, Mike, really quick. John. Any teams that you're really liking so far? We're at the middle of the 10th round, so we've got some pretty solid rosters put together at this point. I haven't looked through everyone yet. That was a great conversation, but is anyone standing out to you quickly?
I will say Rob Street is definitely standing out to me. Another one I said there's a big ass blue line in the middle. And that's kind of standing out to me only because there's a big line, first of all, but there's 6 wide receivers on that team, and only 1 running back. That stands out to me. Not that I like it or love it, but you got to have wide receivers in a 3 wide receiver league.
Yeah, but and he just took another one. We do need some running backs on that team too.
We do definitely need.
Maybe there's some shockers coming that we don't know about yet. I mean, there's a running back I have in my brain right now that's surprising. I know at least one he'll have some value. You know who I'm talking about, Mike, because you called me out last time I brought him up in our little conversation.
Yeah, I do know who you're talking about. I wish I could whisper it into somebody's ear and say, "Hey, listen, take this guy because you won't be." I'm surprised Sony Michel went. Yeah, I'm surprised Sony Michel went in front of him personally, but that is what it is. Outside of that, I'm sorry, because that was a great conversation. That was great.
That was nice.
Great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. I do like. Okay, this is gonna sound. I like Suck It Easy. Okay, I like when that happens.
You like their team?
I like the fact that they have.
What a turnaround!
Right. I mean, I don't love Adam Thielen. I don't love Tyler Lockett, but I like their 3 picks: Brandon Ayuk, Myles Gaskin, Tyler Boyd. I love that. I do think there is definitely upside with Tyler Lockett and Adam Thielen, but I think it's going to be hard pressed to actually find a week consistently when you play them. That's the only issue. There.
I'm like an Oriole Boreal actually. Dalvin Cook, Miles Sanders, obviously not a running back 1, but you're using him as your running back 2. Still got Mike Davis. And then his receivers are pretty solid. A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Kenny Golladay, I'm personally not the hottest on, but Jalen Waddle, and then Darnell Mooney. Fairly solid. And then Michael Carter in that back end of the running backs. If he turns out to be anything, you're taking the shot on him pretty late. He's going to be pretty great. And then Josh Allen at QB. He's got a solid team so far, I think.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with you. Obviously, Kenny Golladay leaves a sour taste in my mouth. But
I meant to tell KBC or KBKC that you had Kenny Golladay wide receiver 2 last year.
yeah, let's not talk about that. He's probably still watching. He's laughing now. So let's not talk about that. But anyways, let's get Rob Street is on fire into this stream because he's about to pick. And let's see. Let's bring him on to here. So
I just let him know that he's coming on.
Yeah, so he's loading up. Geez. Other than that, I'm trying to find another team I really, really love.
Is there any picks that are just really throwing you off? You're questioning.
I think the Kyle Pitts in the freaking third round. I think that they're don't give me in the timeout. Okay, yes. There's a big question mark. You went Kyle Pitts, and then you went Gronkowski in the 10th round. That's a big question mark for me, personally. That I don't think you need. I don't think you need that, but that's just me. I don't know that team. I like it, but I don't love it. Like I think it could be very.
You guys hear me? Can you see me?
Oh, we can see you. We can hear.
We can't see you, but we can definitely hear you.
All right. What's going on, gentlemen? How are we?
We are doing
good.
Great,
How are you
sir.
doing, Rob?
Oh, I am on the clock, and I wish I had waited a little bit longer for QB, seeing as how Jalen Hurts is still staring me right in the face. That was a surprise. But that is part of drafting. You get curveballs all the time.
All the time, that's true.
So now that we're sitting here at the 10th, and I have 2 running backs, since seeing, and my reasoning behind that is having Christian McCaffrey, you might as well have 6 running backs in one. So I felt really comfortable hammering in wide receiver, every other position after that. But I think there is a really nice value sitting here at the 10th, and my third running back will be Kenyon Drake.
Really?
Because someone has to take some of those carries, and I do like that.
Not just the carries, the pass catching work.
Well, but it's a half point PPR, so I don't take too much into that, but it does help. Now
it adds up.
Now the question is, do I take another quarterback? That is the question.
No.
Do you want our answer? Are we allowed to give him an answer?
No, we're not allowed to give him an answer. No, we're not. This is John. I'm sorry. Like I said,
you're not allowed to give me an answer. Wait a minute.
We're not allowed to give. No, we're interviewing you. You're not interviewing us.
Speaking of upside, I think I see another great upside play late in the 11th round. It sucks because the benches are so shallow, so shallow. So you really,
that was the point, baby.
I don't know if I want to stick a handcuff on there for super long, but I think we're going to go with the upside here of someone named, yikes. I would say I really wish Corey Davis was here still. But I think, boys, we're going to go with the veteran, and that veteran's name is Marvin Jones Jr.
Marvin Jones, all right.
I actually like that a lot.
I don't mind it.
I think he's going to have some weeks where he's really going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I really do. And if early indication receiver sets, I think right now that starting job is Marvin Jones to lose. I think they would put Marvin Jones and DJ both on the outside. Laviska will rotate in as the third wide receiver. So I like having Marvin Jones very late in the rounds. I'm excited. I have to admit, I really wish I could peel off my skin and steal PNW 360's team. I love his first 6 picks. I really wanted Mark Andrews. I really wanted Justin Jefferson. I really wanted James Robinson, and he proceeded to take all three of them in a row.
That's
so
funny. You must never listen to us because we freaking hate them.
I know.
Well,
I know.
I like James Robinson.
Okay.
That's why those were my targets, because I figured, everyone in this league listens to you guys, so I can dig where everyone zags. And that was not successful at all.
It's like, I can grab these guys 3 rounds
That's
later
funny.
because no one's gonna like them.
That's great. That's great. Oh,
So
man, I
I'm
love it.
very, very disappointed in all three of those decisions. But at the end of the day, I really enjoy how my team started out. I really did. This is my first share of Julio Jones. This is my 4th draft this season, and this is my first share of Julio. I'm excited about that. My first Justin Herbert share, who I've been banging the table. He is overrated, so it's hilarious. I have him, but I couldn't avoid the stack with Keenan Allen. I was really hoping to lay down, and so here was my plan. If I could have scored Justin Jefferson in the 2nd round, I was going to wait all the way until the 14th round and pick Kirk Cousins as my quarterback, because in this, I've never played in 6-point passing touchdown leagues, and I think that's going to give room for some of these later guys to really be in the running for the top 6, 7 quarterbacks. I think it's a mistake this year, especially in 6-point pass down leagues, to go QB early. So I normally do not mind doing that, but I felt, especially in this league format, that would be a huge mistake. So honestly, that was plan A, was to get Justin Jefferson early and then run around, wait late until Kirk Cousins, but that also did not happen. So we will see if this, you guys out there in Fantasyland have to be right eventually. So if the Justin Herbert pick is what everyone says he's going to be, everyone's crowned him a top 5 QB.
Whoa.
Whoa,
Not us. No one in this show has crowned Justin
no.
Herbert a top 5 quarterback. Let us lay down that law right and quick.
Yeah,
Are you guys the reason here?
I said there's going to be a regression in Justin Herbert. I think he put a solid showing up. I love Keenan Allen. I like Mike Williams late. But I think that Justin Herbert set too big of a stage for himself, unfortunately. Even with the weapons around him, I think he's going to have a slight regression. And he's not going to live up to that top 5 expectation.
Now, Mike, I have to get your opinion on this, Mike. Since we're talking about quarterbacks real quick. Two questions. Okay. First question is, what do you think of these guys taking 2 quarterbacks already? I see Joe Burrow and Tannehill. I see Stafford and Trey Lance. How do you feel about that?
Okay.
It looks like the Joe Burrow and Tannehill was an auto pick because of their phone died. So I'm just going to defend this guy a little bit.
Oh, no. Oh, that's
It looks like his phone might have died again because his phone, it is saying auto right now. It sucks, but he complained in the chat and I saw that.
Yeah. Okay. And PNW's auto drafting now too. Oh, that's rough. Okay.
Geez.
I see.
Well,
all right. Well, okay. That was part 1.
Anyway,
part 2.
So
I fought with
the
John
Trey
about this.
Lance.
I want to fight with you about this, Mike. I need your top 10 cube. I know it's putting you on the spot. I know this might be a future video also. So if you need to save this in your back hat, then please do. But real quick, off the top of your head, I'm putting you on the spot. 10 QBs this year. Go.
Top 10 QBs: Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott. How many is that? What, 6?
6.
That's 6.
That's 6. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Let's see. That's a great question. How many is that? Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. So that's 8.
So, okay. Honestly,
so I need
okay,
2
so I didn't
more.
cut you off. So you did great. No. Okay, so you did great. But okay, so now you had Josh Allen at 2.
No, I did. No, I'm just going like top. Like
okay,
10. I'm not in order. Just these are my top 10. I can't give you my order right now.
What are your thoughts on the Josh Allen possibility of regression? Where do you fall on the Josh? Now, I'm a contrarian in this party. Okay, I am not a Josh Allen believer. I think
there is nowhere to. He went up last year, and he hit the ceiling. There is nowhere for him to go.
Thank you. I agree.
He's not going to rush. He's not going to rush. He's not going to rush for like 13 touchdowns or whatever it was last year. So yes, no, I agree. Yeah, he rushed for 8 touchdowns. He's not going to do that again. I know he rushed for 9 the year before.
Whoa. He's got every right in his world in 17 games to rush for 8 touchdowns.
Okay, and seven. Okay, yeah, I always okay. He might rush for eight, but they just paid the man fucking $500 million or whatever the frick it was.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
He's not running QB sneaks and sneaking it up the middle in the middle of a pack. He is running to the outside wide open and hitting that corner of that end zone on the open play because they have no running backs.
See, the thing is,
which they do this year. So I think
they did last year.
I don't think they asked him to do the same things that they asked him to do. Singletary was banged up, and then down the stretch, Zach Moss was banged up.
I think the difficult part this year is the fact that when we're talking about regression and things like that, is the fact that we add a whole nother game.
Yeah, it is hard.
And it's like, it's. I mean, I'm not saying
it adds a whole nother part to the conversation.
It does. It technically it does, but like at the end of the day, first of all, I don't think Pat Mahomes going at the first overall quarterback. I don't think he's going to finish as the first overall quarterback. Josh Allen, he has a better opportunity to finish at the as the first overall cornerback, but I also think I don't know. I think he's going to regress just a little bit. He's got to. He's got to regress. He had a great year last year.
Looking back, guys, I hate my pick of Herbert even more now. Realizing how late Tannehill went, I kind of hate my Herbert pick even more because I could have went Julio Tannehill stack. So looking back,
you could have, but realistically, I mean, look at the other picks that were available at the time where you grabbed Herbert. You're looking at Gaskin, Tyler Boyd, Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson. You got a great quarterback and already had your positions filled, in my opinion.
Personally, the Tannehill Julio stack would not pay the same dividends as the Herbert Allen stack. So I think you nailed it on the head, to be honest.
I like that. That's a great point, actually. I like that. That's a good point. That is a great point.
I mean, Tannehill's not going to throw the same amount of touchdowns to Julio as Herbert's going to throw to Allen. So.
How do you guys feel about the fantasy? What's this guy's name? Fantasy something or whatever. Going wide receiver, crazy.
Yeah, the fantasy tap group. Yes. Yeah, that's
we lot. We liked the stack early on. Personally, for me, the running backs are that's yeah.
Zero RB. I don't know. That's gonna
not
be
even zero. No. He didn't even go zero RB. He like legit went like zero RB. Like
zero.
Like there's zero. Like there's like zero RB, and then there's like what he did.
Yeah.
Every other position he's fine at, in my opinion. It's literally the running backs he needs to figure out something at this point. I mean, Leonard Fournette, there's a chance he's great. Devin Singletary might get you by as a running back too. You're not gonna, he's not gonna win you your weeks, but he might get you by. Like, there's a chance this team gets through, and with some waivers or some trades even, be a completely different team by the end of the draft.
I just want to say this real quick. KBKC, Mike Footballology on Twitter. He was earlier on our show earlier. He went Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I didn't want to say, yeah, we didn't.
I appreciate him a lot.
I mean, so
now these are the rounds that get real dirty. These are the dirty rounds here now. Now Chuba is staring me right in the face, so I think Chuba is where we got to go with pick number 1.
Wow. Okay.
I hate handcuffing my own player. I really hate doing that, but we don't. I just something's telling me to do it, and I think now at this point we're gonna scroll down here and look and see where some names are, because if my buddy is there and he is still there and he is deep, but this is why we listen to
this is where you gotta take them.
This is why we listen to the fantasy tap, because you hear names and you hear concepts that you wouldn't get anywhere else. I don't care if it's Fantasy Pros. I don't care if it's 4x4 fantasy.
I love that.
I don't care if it's fucking. I don't care where you go, Twitter, ESPN, Mike Berry, Matthew Berry, Blueberry. I don't care.
Blueberry.
You go down.
Let's go.
Someone like that.
I like it.
Let's go.
Sneaky pick like that. That's what you do. When you listen to the fantasy tap, when you listen to John and Mike from the fantasy tap, you pick like that in the 14th round, baby.
Love it. Love it,
Wayne
Rob.
Gallman.
Love it.
That's what you do.
All right, Rob, just because of
Appreciate that
that,
a
you're
lot.
winning the league 100.
No, realistically, no, that's a great pick because that late transition to Atlanta, he is, especially if you're someone that just drafts from ADP, you're never going to pick him up. And it's because he's just so far down right now. Gonna be getting some sort of work and could find himself into a really strong workload, just filled out great without Saquon there. Great.
Didn't he? He did. He really, really showed out last year. I'm not gonna lie. Wayne Gallman was a great pick. And I really appreciate that point you just made, John, because I was able to take advantage of that in a lot of ESPN leagues this year, scrolling way deep down, getting guys like even in Antonio Brown way above consensus in a lot of leagues. I really hammered him lately. I mean, his ADP was down there 8th, 9th round. He's easily a 6th round pick. Sleeper's ADP has adjusted way more correctly to Antonio Brown, but ESPN, I don't know where. I think ESPN must still think he's in Las Vegas cursing out owners because like his ADP is criminal in ESPN leagues.
It's true because you get the same upside you get with the other two receivers. You get the same upside you get with Mike Evans. You get the same, other than the touchdown upside technically, but you get the same upside you get with Chris Godwin, especially Chris Godwin. In my opinion, and you're getting him so late. I love it. I love that Wayne Gallman pick. I'm not even gonna lie, dude. I messed up big time. As soon as he got cut in one of my dynasty leagues, I cut his ass and
worked himself right into a better situation.
He worked, exactly. He put himself in a better situation. I'm like, damn, I put a lot of fab out there, and unfortunately, somebody outbid me for him. So now I'm not looking good. I'm okay at running back, but I'm not as good as it would have been if I had Wayne Gallman sitting there. So I love that. I love that you picked that. That's great. That's great.
Thank you very much. Thank you. But now one more thing another question. Now, Amon-Ra St. Brown, okay, he might be an exception to this rule, but now you both have been playing fantasy for a long time. Rookie wide receiver production has been something historically you were never to bet on in fantasy.
Right.
Outside of last year.
Now,
that's where I'm going. And that's where I'm going. Last year, do you guys feel like that is an anomaly? Or do you feel like we can expect something like this going further because of the adaptation of NFL coaches lending the ears of these college coaches and saying, hey, what worked for Waddle? What worked for Devonta Smith? What worked for Jerry Jeudy? What worked for CeeDee Lamb? What routes does he like? Where does he like to get the ball in order to get these rookie wide receivers up to speed quicker and more productive quicker? Do you feel like this is something that we can expect going forward? Or should we kind of look at last year as an outlier and fade these rookies in drafts?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead and answer that.
All right. So for me, realistically, right off, just trying to get straight to the point. For me, I think that it's just more of a trend we're going to be seeing as the NFL goes on. I think it's slightly an outlier. We're not going to be seeing that every year where every early round receiver that went to a team that was somewhat could use that wide receiver just blew up in fantasy. But I do think we're going to see a trend where teams are trying to get more value out of their players while they're young on cheaper contracts before they have to pay their players, instead of letting them work their role up. People are, especially the guys that are getting drafted up, the first, second, and third round, they're getting drafted to fill a role almost immediately. And they're going to get that workload initially. If they can't handle it, now we're working them out. I do think that it's a trend that's going to be going. But it's more looking at where that player is getting drafted, who that player is. Are they going to get that role in that first year, or are they someone that's going to get developed into it, like a Jamar Chase this year? He's got two other high-end receivers around him, working around two other guys. Jalen Waddle walks into a little bit more of an open role.
So for me, honestly, man, it's a case-by-case basis where you could it's hit or miss straight up. I mean, we had Terry McLaurin his rookie year. He played pretty well. Not Justin Jefferson well. I think there's definitely going to be every year rookie wide receiver, one or two rookies that just outperform their ADP and just expectations completely. but I think it's going to be case by case, and I think it's going to be team by team, and I don't think it's going to be predictable whatsoever. I think we can guess, pretty, I think we can see what's going on there and say, okay, this guy's going to have a good year. For instance, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to a quarterback who's supported two wide receiver twos, a wide receiver one and a wide receiver two, year in and year out, plus a pretty good tight end 1 year. And then, in Jared Goff. But then, this year with the entire offense as a whole, and Amon-Ra is one of the only wide receivers there. He could perform. He could perform as one of the top wide receivers this year, but at the same time, it's like in that offense, he could just completely fold. So I think it's case by case, and we can do our best to predict it and to guess, which one's going to do what. But I really don't think the rookie wide receiver, like I said, the rookie wide receiver is going to be predictable. I think it's going to be, hard to predict. And I think it could happen. It's a case by case thing at the end of the day.
So in the chat really quickly, KBKC, who's listening along apparently, wanted us to point out that the 2013 wide receiver class was a crazy year as well. And that obviously it's not an every year thing where we've got 5 guys that are finishing in the top 36 wide receivers.
Wasn't that
2013? Was that Ridley? Was that
no, that was
not Ridley.
Mike
Ridley was
Evans.
2018.
Was that Mike Evans?
I'm looking it up. I don't know off the top of my head. I feel bad not knowing it.
I know. KBKC.
Robert Woods, Tavon Austin, Justin Hunter, Cordell Patterson, it was Hopkins' year. Yeah.
Hopkins, yeah. And then, well,
Keenan Allen
technically,
as well.
Yeah, technically,
no,
Mike Evans,
pretty solid freaking class. Jeez.
Well, Mike Evans' year, that was a pretty good year.
Jordan Matthews.
Wow, the fantasy groupie, he did not elect to hammer out late running backs like I thought he was going to. He is comfortable rolling out. He is comfortable rolling out Lenny and Devin week 1 with no plan B. I love it.
This man's gonna make so many trades in the
to
first
wall,
week.
baby.
Watch, he's gonna end up with an Alvin Kamara or someone that we didn't expect. Someone went too running back heavy and needs some receivers.
So somebody's got to, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
end of the day, I'm looking at everyone's team right now. There's really no one that's I'm looking.
No one's gonna do that. I don't think anyone's gonna be desperate enough to give him anyone worth it. But listen, maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe he knows. Maybe he's about to roll out the 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 and 4 best wide receivers, and they're just gonna all drop 30 a week, and Kyler will drop 50 a week, and it won't matter. Maybe.
Every other position he's pretty solid at. So he's only ever going to have to start 2 running backs. So only needs to find 2 guys. If Leonard Fournette takes that step forward, he could be one of them. I don't see a reality where Singletary is that second guy. Waivers exist, injuries happen, and the fantasy year gets crazy after week 1 and 2.
Now
everything changes.
This and my favorite late round defense to pick. My favorite one. People have forgotten how horrible Houston could be. People have forgotten how horrible Jacksonville could be. And I love the fact that I can get the Colts defense here and play that horrible division several times a year.
I'm surprised the Colts defense is available.
Oh, it always is, my friend.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is it? Wow.
People are still picking
Colts.
the Denver Broncos defense of like 2016. And I'm sorry, not to throw shade, but the Denver Broncos defense is not what it used to be. And I feel people are still overdrafting it. And
I kind of disagree. I disagree with that. They have Bradley.
They're going to see Patty and Herbert twice, and who knows?
I understand that.
And those AFC West games always get out of hand. I never want a piece of that.
I understand that, but you've got potentially the best secondary with Justin Simmons. You just drafted Patrick Surtain. You've got Bradley Chubb. You've got Von Miller back healthy. I mean, neither of them have been healthy together for the last 2 years. First of all, secondly, plus their secondary. I mean, I like the Broncos defense this year a lot. Actually, I mean, other than obviously,
Oh,
other
that's your
than when they
sleeper.
play.
I like it. That's your sleeper. I like it.
No, that's not my sleeper. No, the sleeper didn't even get picked for me. The Dolphins, bro. How are you gonna? How
Yeah,
are
I'm
you not
surprised
gonna
how the
take the
Dolphins defense
Dolphins?
doesn't get
How are you
grabbed.
not gonna take the Dolphins defense when they had like one of the most? They were the defense
Turnover
that
friendly
produced
defenses
like.
last year. Plus
Thank you. Exactly.
added depth in the draft at their weakest spot.
Ah, interesting. Okay, good to
Yeah, I mean,
to
there's
know.
not-
I like the
boys.
Colts
I gotta-
defense a lot. The Colts defense is one of my favorite defenses. They
Yeah,
have
Colts defense,
talent
I can't believe
literally
you
at
got them
every
as well.
position. They're literally like a watered down Rams defense from 2019 for me. Every position is semi stacked.
In a perfect division too.
Yes.
All right, boys. Well,
So,
since I'm
I
still
mean-
on the line, before you guys kick me off, you gotta look at my finished results. Before you kick me off, you gotta check me how I did. How did I do?
You did good. I probably the only difference I would have made probably was taking instead of Chuba Hubbard, I probably would have taken Philip Lindsay. Don't like handcuffing my own running backs.
I agree.
But but other than that, I mean, I do, and Will Fuller I think could be a bust. I probably would have taken Darnell, or I would have taken Darnell Mooney over him. But other than that, I do like your team. I do like your team. I like Chris Carson as your running back too. You're going to find a running back too, throughout the season, whether it's Carson or Kenyon potentially with an injury to Jacobs or Gallman. So I think you did fine. I mean, I definitely think you're making it to the playoffs, especially if you play the waivers correctly.
I
Oh
think
my
you did
man!
great.
I got the blessing. I got the playoff blessing. Let's go.
One of the things the only thing I think I would have done on your team would have been, I agree with that Darnell Mooney over Will Fuller there, but I think instead of that Julio Jones pick, I actually think I would have grabbed Javonte Williams, mainly just because you have those two running backs that are going to be solid at least for the first few games. And the only reason I feel comfortable even making that assumption is because I know how you finish your draft off and you had that wide receiver depth and you didn't need Julio Jones to finish out your team. He's just a great addition to it. But I think the upside that Javonte could have got you would have rounded out your team a lot better. But
yeah.
But that's only because I know the end and with how drafts can go so
Exactly.
crazy so
That's
quickly.
the thing.
It would
You
have been
really
hard
don't
to
know.
assume.
All right. So, anyways, guys, Rob, thank you so much for tuning or joining us.
And tuning
We
in.
told, and tuning in. Of course, we truly appreciate your support. We know you've been one of the A1 day ones. You've been there since the beginning. So we love that. Obviously, we will definitely have you back because, I mean, why not? First of all, I love the sideburns. So we're definitely going to have you back. So we'll have you back, throughout the season. We truly appreciate you supporting the podcast, and we will talk to you soon.
Appreciate you being here, man.
All right, well,
yourself?
he's freaking out. He's muting himself. I don't know, but
Rob, you muted yourself. He's talking a lot.
We can't hear him.
We were getting
We can see his
appreciation.
facial expressions.
All right. Terrible timing.
Well, we will
we appreciate
definitely
you, bro.
have Rob back
Yeah,
on soon. And thank you so much, Rob, for joining in with us. We will talk to you soon. John, what do you think? This draft.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was a huge,
It was
great time.
great.
I
I think
really
it was
like that
great.
Gallman pick late like that. I think it's going to be a really competitive league, actually. I'm really excited. I think a lot of people started taking their sleepers late. You see Miles taking Palmer in the 13th round there. What is it, the 15th round? Obviously, he thinks he's going to be something when there's still guys like Rager going in that 13th, 15th round. Rondale Moore, a lot of players, really interesting. Kind of curious to see who turns around and which guys sleepers who really had what. I mean, AJ Green literally went at the 16th round.
16th. We only have 14.
14, sorry. The numbers are small.
Yeah. So yeah, he did go. So John, put your blessing. Pick one. Who's gonna win?
Mike, I want you to pick first because I need a little bit more time to evaluate.
No, I asked you. I literally asked
I
you.
I'm gonna sound possibly. No. I'm gonna. I, no. I need you to pick first because I haven't been able to decide yet. I'm looking. There's about two teams I'm very fond of. I'm trying to figure out
And
which
who are
one I like
those?
more.
All right, who are those?
I really like Rob's team. He was just on here. I do
Yeah.
like it. I think he's got enough depth at every position, and then he's high end enough at his tight end and his quarterback to where he's going to be able to roll in and week out and be able to perform.
Yep.
Again, and I'm not trying to sound biased to our guest here. I just think we brought them on because they were both very knowledgeable guys. I really do like KBKC's team. He's very solid at the running back early on and then really loaded it up with a lot of options at wide receiver. Not a huge fan of Tunyon, but I think that's the only person I'm not hot on. Parker, I think,
Yeah.
has a role, but even at that point, you took him
I mean,
late
he
enough.
finishes the freaking wide receiver. He finishes the top 12 wide receiver.
And then just, being able to meet the player that's behind the team, I know that he's going to be able to play the waivers smart. He's going to possibly make some trades throughout the season with some of these other guys. So I think he's someone we see in the finals. Rob, I do think we see in the finals. I actually do like TK Brad Hitton's team. I think he's got a few guys on his team that could be a big turnaround, especially like Brian Edwards. Great late round pick, boomer bust opportunity for him. And then Emmanuel Sanders too could find a huge role in Buffalo as the number 2 receiver. Maybe take a step out of Stephon Diggs. Could be nothing, but you literally grabbed him in the last round of the draft.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Real quick, another one that I really, really like that has a ton of upside, in my opinion, Wilson, 27. His two running backs, Jonathan Taylor, Antonio Gibson. He's got Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson has potentially played with the worst quarterbacks, and still finished, top 12 wide receiver. So love that. Robert Woods, I think, is in a better position than he has pretty much ever been. So I think he's going to definitely produce. Gus Edwards, Damian Harris, both guys I really love. And then these are my favorite picks right here. Russell Gage and Michael Gallup later on. I think you can find wide receiver 3s going on later. Obviously, you've got Aaron Rodgers, top 12 quarterback, easy. Logan Thomas is definitely going to be a top 12 tight end. You really don't have to worry about that.
As well as Mike Gesicki there.
Yeah, and then you got Mike Gesicki, of course. Baker Mayfield. I see that those are the only questionable calls, in my opinion. I'm not in my experience, I'm not stacking up 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends when I'm picking them in the 7th and 8th round. The only time I'm stacking 2 is if I'm going them in the 9th to 10th round and later. But other than that, Sterling Shepard, with the injury history to Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay. Yeah, I just said that. So
Sorry,
unfortunately, no, you're. Yeah. So I mean, is it typically?
I like it.
Typically, we draft Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton early. It's in like the 8th to 9th round, and it's like, all right, they didn't perform well there. Blah 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 blah. But you know what? You're grabbing them in the 8th round. You're the last round. It's a long shot, and I think that could materialize for him. So I don't mind his team. So but anyways, yeah, I know. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's all we got. This was fun. I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, man. I hope we get some of these guys on a little bit more. It was nice to get some other takes, especially talking with us and just giving a lot of different mindsets that we have. Fans from all over the place really look into things a lot more because they like those teams. Anyone that you're giving I think they're making the playoff nod besides Rob before we get out of here?
Oh, well, like I said, I agree. KBKC, he's making the playoffs. Potentially Miles, our back-to-back champion last year. I love his Tom Brady pick. I like his Claypool pick. I don't really like DJ Moore as his second wide receiver, but it could play out potentially. Sony Michelle and Ramondre Stevenson could potentially pay out big time later on in the year, or actually Sony Michelle could pay off, soon, depending upon what happens to Darrell Henderson and his thumb and everything. I like Gabe Davis too. So I mean, I like that team. He's making the playoffs. We have a 6 playoff teams or leagues. So I'm gonna give it to 6 of them. I'm gonna give it to Rob. I'm gonna give it to
I can only name 3
Brad.
personally that I'd give that nod to.
Yeah,
This
it's
early.
hard. I don't know if I can name all of them, but
All right,
I
my
think the
top
ones we
3 is
talked
Rob, KBKC, and then TK Brad Hinton. Those 3 I think are almost a lock if they just play their rosters properly.
Yeah. Well, at the end of that, I think Miles and Wilson are definitely making the playoffs as well. So we've only got one more spot after that, and it's up for grabs. But really, at the end of the day, we have no say over it. We just freaking this is only a draft. I hate when people say, "Hey, did I win my draft? Did I draft best players?" We don't know. We have no idea because the season has yet to be played. So,
Yep.
listen, the Kyler Murray helmet is still on the line. It's on the line. I enjoyed this. It is fun. It is fun for me. So.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thank you, everyone who tuned in to the YouTube live stream and everyone that ended up listening to the podcast or the YouTube video. Make sure you guys pick your favorite teams out of this draft. We'll try to get a nice little cut somewhere from you guys and get on Instagram. I want you guys to pick your favorite teams because we're going to update you on how this league is going week in and week out. Maybe get some of these guys in, get them to argue about who their players are, their matchups. Figure out what they're going on, where their mindsets are, who their waiver targets are. Let's get this involved. We're gonna make this league
it's gonna be fun
thing for everyone.
This isn't gonna be like John said. This is not gonna be your typical your typical listener league. I think it's gonna be a fun year this year. We're not just gonna let everybody play, and go on to win that Kyler Murray helmet. We're gonna make him earn it, and we'll have him on and keep him similar to the Zero RB. We're gonna have a series through this, and I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great.
All right,
it's fun. That's the word I can. That's the only word I can say that describes this. It's fun. So, all right, guys, we are getting out of here. We will talk to you soon. Don't forget, tune in. This coming week, we're going to have our DFS sports betting. We're going to have the first or the second episode of Zero RB. Obviously, we're going to have other injury updates, start sits, things like that, because it's freaking week 1. It's week
Absolutely.
1, John.
Excited, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your nights, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Love you guys.